Hello, my name is Priscilla, and I want to welcome you to my channel. On this channel, I'm going to be talking to you about why I decided to do the carnivore diet. But I don't really like using the word diet because to me, carnivore is a way of life. I want to share with you and I want to document my journey and my adventure and my weight loss and my road to health. But before I tell you why I decided to go this route, I need to go back just a few years to the year 2020 and what made me come to the decision to try the carnivore diet. So let me explain. Before I get into why I made the decision that I have 9 days ago to do carnivore, I would need to take you back to 2020. So let's go back just a little bit. In 2020, I knew about carnivore, read about it, loved everything it stood for, and decided that that's what I was going to do. So I strictly went on carnivore. And just like anything new, it was a little hard at first, but the more and more I did it, the more and more I enjoyed it, and I started noticing a lot of benefits from it. Not only was I feeling great and losing weight, but I felt better mentally and emotionally. And that was the best feeling out of all of it. Yes, it's great to look good in a pair of jeans and be able to wear clothes that hung in the closet for a year because you no longer could wear, but to me, it was just much more than that. Unfortunately, I had to put that on hold. I had to put carnivore on hold because there were times that I would go to the grocery store and meat was very scarce, just like all the other food that were on the shelves. 2020 wasn't exactly the best of times. We all know what was going on during that time, and it just became for me about surviving. I was no longer working. I had been laid off because I work in a restaurant. Kids were home, they weren't going to school, and we were all just kind of in the house just trying to survive and take each day one day at a time. And so that quickly faded away, and then I just started eating food that was just comforting. I mean, I was eating food that wasn't good for me because I was bored or I was sad or I was anxious because we were all at home or because I was laying in my bed watching a movie. Eventually, I was laid off in February of 2020, and then I was able to return back to work in November of 2020. And I was very grateful for that. And I kind of got in a little routine because I was able to work 2 days a week and get back into the groove and get back into the restaurant business. So I was really happy about that. But once again, I was just surrounded by food. I was surrounded by soda, and I wasn't eating right. Before I knew it, I had put on 50 or 60 pounds, and I was at my heaviest. And one night I drove home from work, parked my truck in the driveway, and I just started crying because I was so mad and so disgusted and so angry with myself that I allowed myself to get in this position. Here I was, 41 years old. My knee was bothering me. My shoulder was hurting. I felt bloated. I felt gross. I just felt blah. I didn't feel good. And also, I was upset because I was going to have to go up another pant size, but I didn't want to admit that that's where I was going. And it was in that moment that I decided that it was time to get healthy. And that's exactly what I did. I made up my mind. The next day, I woke up, went to 2 different grocery stores, cleaned out my pantry, cleaned out my refrigerator, got rid of all the junk, and I filled the refrigerator and the pantry with great food. I kind of created my own diet. Now, was it the best diet there was? No, but it worked for me. And my diet consisted of a high protein breakfast. I would have fruit and maybe a nice salad at lunch, and then a high protein dinner. I ate fruit, I ate vegetables, I ate protein, and there were certain fruits and vegetables that I ate more, and fruits and vegetables that I just strictly stayed away from. For a whole month, I did not exercise. I just strictly wanted to get my body used to the new way of eating, and once I felt I was ready to start working out, then I did. I bought a bike and I started incorporating riding my bike in the morning or in the afternoon, or sometimes if I had enough energy, I did both, but I never pushed. I was so bad out of shape that I was proud if I could just ride for 10 straight minutes without being tired. That is where I was physically. I really started noticing a lot of progress. I was dropping weight, I was feeling great, I had a lot of energy, and I was really proud of myself. There were times as I continued to go on that I started off riding at 10 minutes, and then I was riding at 15 minutes, and then months into it, I could ride up my bike up to like 2 hours a day, riding miles instead of just riding up and down the street. Long story short, when I weighed myself in June, because a year to the day, I lost 76 pounds and went down 4 pant sizes. I was wearing a size 18 and dropped down to a size 10. And I was really proud. But when I look back now, there are a lot of things that I could have done better, but in the moment, I felt wonderful. And then, of course, life just gets in the way. You get busy with kids. We were traveling with BMX. Um, the holidays were coming up, school started, found out that my oldest was having a baby, and just all these wonderful things were happening. And before I knew it, I started getting a little bit relaxed on what I had worked so hard for the year before. I was back full time in the restaurant. I was the manager. We were having a lot of parties. I was constantly surrounded by food. I was doing catering jobs. And then I noticed that I was backtracking and going back into the same habits that I had done a couple years prior. And then I was like, nope, no more. I need to quit. So I started working out, started eating a little bit healthier. But by this time, I just was kind of drowning and getting down on myself. And then June of 2023, I was at work. I bent over. I heard and felt a loud pop in my back, and that was all she wrote. I had to get picked up in an ambulance, go straight to the hospital, found out I herniated 2 of my lower lumbar discs. So, sometimes when it rains, it pours. And here I am back at square one. I'm laying in the bed. I'm not working. I'm eating ice cream because I'm sad because I'm not working. And I'm eating ice cream because I'm hurt. And then I'm on all these prescriptions and I can't get around. And it's summertime and all the summer plans are now just out the window. And then before I knew it, I was just putting back on and putting back on weight. So out of the 76 pounds that I had originally lost, I gained 30 pounds of it back in a year. And I was completely disappointed in myself. And I just remember I said, I can't wait till I'm healed and then I can start working out and losing weight. And the response I got at home was this, and I will never forget it. And it was my motivation. And it was said by an 11-year-old. And this is what was said. Just because you can't work out doesn't mean you can't eat right. And that was like, the lights came on, the bells were ringing, and I was like, you are absolutely right. I'm just making up excuses. Yes, I may physically not be able to work out because of the issue that I have with my back, but there's absolutely no reason why I can't eat right. So we started researching carnivore again, and I just made up my mind, like, I'm done. I've got to get this 30 pounds off, and then I need to continue on this journey. So let me tell you a little bit about my first week on carnivore. I am on day 9 currently right now, and when I started, it wasn't exactly easy for me. It takes a lot of an adjustment, not only physically, but also mentally, and you have to be mentally prepared to do carnivore because you have to be able to give up sugar and bread and rice and potatoes and all of the things that we find hearty and that are delicious and all your favorite comfort foods, and you just have to give them up and just say, this is not only just for me to lose weight, but it's also for me to be healthy all around on the inside and the outside. And so it is also a mental adjustment as well. I am not going to tell you that it was easy and that I just jumped right into it and I was getting it. No, it was hard. The first 3 or 4 days, I was super tired. I had no energy. And so I had to research and see what was going on. And it was just because I needed a little bit more electrolytes in my diet. I was needing more salt and I needed to up my salt intake. And that's exactly what I did. And then I would feel a lot better. I was also taking magnesium, which also helped and gave my body a little bit of what it was needing and what it was lacking. And there were days that I had a lot of energy, and there were days that I didn't. And there were a lot of days where I was, everything was normal. And then there were days where I was in the bathroom most of the time. And I'm not trying to be gross and I'm not trying to be silly. I'm just trying to put out the facts. And Sunday and Monday, I was in the bathroom all day Sunday and half a day Monday, but I kind of just look at that as that my body is getting rid of things that it no longer needs, and it's not serving my body the way it needs to serve it. So to me, I think it's a good thing. After 2 or 3 days, I just felt full all the time, and I wasn't going to force myself to eat if I wasn't hungry. I felt like I was getting enough from the meals that I was eating, and it was carrying me for a long period of time. And because we are taught to eat 3 square meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I felt like I needed to do that. But there were times when I would think about eating and cooking hamburger patty or cooking some, some steak or just cooking, chicken or just thinking about anything. The thought of it would just almost make me nauseous because I felt so full as it was, anyways. And my body was adjusting to this new way of eating. You know, 8 days prior, I was eating cereal and I was having a donut and I was drinking caffeine and I was drinking all and eating all the things that I wanted. And all of a sudden, here I am now just eating a handful of things. So some days were better than others. The first 3 days, I was tired, my stomach hurt. The fourth and fifth day, I felt pretty good, had a lot of energy. But then there was one day where I spent my Sunday completely in the bathroom and then half a day on Monday. If we're going to, I would rather just be open and honest and put it all out there because that's exactly what I was experiencing. And that will happen too. So my meals consisted of this. I would wake up in the morning and I would scramble like 3 or 4 eggs, and then I would do a hamburger patty or some ground beef and season it with salt, and then I would eat it. And I would also do that in the evenings. I might have like 1 or 2 hamburger patties, and then instead of doing scrambled eggs, I would do boiled eggs. And sometimes when I felt like I was hungry and I was having cravings for things, I would drink some water and realize that I wasn't hungry. I was just thirsty. I will say I am thirsty a lot, and it's just because I needed to, up my mineral intake. Like I needed to eat more salt, and I wasn't getting enough minerals and electrolytes that I needed. So I had to study on what I needed to do and not be so constantly thirsty all the time because I was very thirsty a lot. And I felt like maybe I wasn't drinking enough water, or maybe I was just not getting enough minerals that I needed. I also boiled a whole bunch of eggs, and the reason why I did that is because if I started getting hungry and I started having cravings, then I could just go into the kitchen and grab a boiled egg out of the refrigerator, peel it and a little bit of salt on it and eat it, and then I was full, and it would get rid of any cravings I was having and get me through until I was ready to have dinner. It was a great snack. And on top of it, it gives you a lot of energy, or at least it did for me. And after I got over the sleepy stage, then I started getting on the having a lot of energy stage, and I noticed I was having a lot more energy. I do work part time since I've had my injury. I just work at a restaurant and I sit down behind the counter and I take orders. And even just doing that, I felt a little bit more alert and that I had a lot more energy to talk and interact with the customers, and that's always nice. Then on Friday, we had a ribeye, and the ribeye was absolutely amazing. When I say that steak melted in your mouth, it definitely did, and it was cooked to perfection. It was wonderful. We can't do steaks every night. It's not in the budget. We eat what we can afford, whatever meats we can afford. But that week we happened to be able to treat ourselves to 2 steaks, 2 different types of cut. Friday night we had a ribeye, and then Sunday we had a T-bone. I liked the ribeye a lot more than I liked the T-bone. And also because I wasn't feeling very well Sunday and I was having some stomach issues, I wasn't really feeling it. But I was hungry because my stomach was growling and I was hungry, but I just didn't feel good. And then today I felt amazing. I got up, I I had a lot of energy. I was able to get a few things done that I needed to get done around the house, and everything just was wonderful. So let me show you a couple of pictures. This is a picture of me when I first started Carnivore 9 days ago, to give you an idea of what I look like. Not like a whole lot has changed. It's not going to be overnight and all of a sudden you're going to drop 30 and 40 pounds, but this is what I look like when I first started. And when I took this picture, I was right about 213, almost 214 pounds. And then this is what I looked like on day 8 when I took my picture, and I was right at 206 pounds. And even though a lot of the weight may be water weight, to lose 7 pounds in a week is amazing. It's 7 less pounds that I'm carrying around on my stomach, on my hips, on my thighs, and my gut, just on my body in general. And that is an amazing and wonderful feeling. It's like I lost a pound a day. Now that is wonderful. A lot of that is water, and I'm okay with that because I feel better. I'm sleeping better. I have a lot more energy, and I don't feel like I'm as heavy and I'm carrying around so much. It's a different kind of feeling. I can't explain it. If you are on the fence about doing carnivore, my best advice to you is to do your research. Before getting back on carnivore the second time, I had to do my research, and I joined groups and read everybody's questions and comments and answers, and researched things online, and just decided that this was the route that I needed to go back on. I had a lot of success back in 2020, and why I didn't do it again in 2021, I have no idea. But that I've made a full circle and here I am. So educate yourself and make sure that this is the route you want to go on. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a specialist. I can't recommend what I think you should or shouldn't do. I'm just an everyday woman who has a family and who works in a restaurant and who decided one day I want better for me physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I feel like carnivore does that. And if you feel carnivore is something that you're wanting to do, I suggest that you do a lot of research, a lot of reading to make sure that it is right for you before just jumping right into it. I'm super excited about documenting my journey, and I'm super excited about sharing this. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch this. I hope you learned something. I hope that if you were debating one way or the other, that now you have some clarification. Thank you so much. And if you liked this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again. My name is Priscilla, and I will see you next time.